site, in the 2017 Global Peace Index, Switzerland is adjudged to be one of the safest countries in the world. Switzerland has a population of just 10 million people. Switzerland is currently spending about $4 billion to strengthen their military. They don't have Boko Haram, they don't have kidnapping, they don't have the kinds of problems that we have. Denmark has a population of 5 million. Denmark is the 5th safest country in the world. They have almost zero crime level, but Denmark is spending $3 billion to strengthen their military. Look, fighting insurgency is a very serious business. I know what it takes because I work with the governor. I know how much is spent to generate credible intelligence for a successful operation against Boko Haram. For you to get intelligence is not a child's play. Why is it that we as journalists here in Nigeria, if you are looking for access, you find out that a media house will take 1 month trying to get information, you don't have access to it, CNN will come to Nigeria, within a week they will get the information because they spend a lot on getting information. Information is expensive. There is no way you can prosecute a war such as insurgency without investing on intelligence gathering. And you must spend money to get this.
Okay, but for those who are opposing, this $1 billion, it's about, what has been said in the past. Boko Haram has been, technically defeated. Boko Haram is no more, it's just soft targets that they are attacking now. So why do we need that much money to deal with them anymore?
Okay, I cited an instance earlier. I gave you an example of Switzerland, which is one of the 10 safest countries in the world. I gave you an example of Denmark, which has almost zero crime, yet spending $3 billion on the part of Denmark, $4.8 billion on the part of Switzerland to strengthen their military. Look, the best time to strengthen your military is when you are in position of strength, not when you are weak. If you are weak and you are looking for deals with the international community to get weapons, you will deal with them at their terms. Because you are in a state of emergency, they will give you, some of these items, at the price that they want. They will determine the cost. So are we going to wait? Okay, we have all said Boko Haram has been degraded. Are we saying that we should sit back and wait for Boko Haram to go and regroup and begin to take over military formations before we strengthen our military? We can't. Obviously, that is not the right way to go. The best time to re-equip the military is now that the military is actually winning the war, so that we create a scenario where it will be impossible for Boko Haram to regroup. If you go to the history of the Boko Haram, they always have a history of regrouping. I have covered the Northeast for about 10 years. Boko Haram, when they attacked Kanama, their first attack was in October 2003 in Yobe State. When they attacked, they had a problem with the police. After the military was brought in, they were defeated. They went underground. Then they appeared in Gusau and Bama in April 2004. After that attack, they were subdued again by the military. They went underground and they appeared in Panshekara in Kano in 2007. They were again subdued. They went underground and they appeared in 2009. After the June and July 2009 crisis in Maiduguri, they were subdued. They began to appear again in 2010. So they always have a history of regrouping. So I think the strategy of the governors is to equip the military, to contribute in equipping the military to such a standard that by the special grace of God, we shouldn't be looking forward to Boko Haram coming back. Our problem in Nigeria is that we seem to forget situations. Nigeria is one of the quickest countries, is one of the countries that is so quick to forget travails. And I think we need to get out of that. We cannot say, look, we should see funding the military as the new normal, not something that you do because that you wouldn't do until you have an emergency. It has to be a new normal. It has to be something that should come to stay.
Okay, let me take this to Mr. Osaemeka. If we look at the 2018 budget, we have a capital allocation to defense standing at 145 billion naira, and 75 billion naira of this is for military operations, Lafia Dole, and other operations of the armed forces. Yes, the Vice President has explained that the $1 billion is not totally for the Boko Haram. So, do you support what the spokesperson for the Borno State government is saying in terms of, yes, we need this more money to take care of Boko Haram?
Well, thank you for this question, even though I'm not a security expert, so I wouldn't be able to probably situate. But I mean, I think Nigerians have a right to ask their government questions as to how their monies are being spent. And and I think this is as a result of also some of the explanations that government have oftentimes brought to the fore in terms of the operations in the Northeast vis-a-vis the fight against insurgency. Severally, the government have sometimes, in my own estimation, too quick to celebrate victories, defeated, won the war, degraded, technically defeated. So many of these narratives have come out, and a lot of Nigerians, believed it. And I think it was shocking to a lot of people when another $1 billion, just like it was in the 2014, $1 billion was borrowed by the last administration to fight Boko Haram. And again, this is 2017. Another $1 billion is also being taken to also fight the supposed Boko Haram. So I think this is where some of this confusion or question is coming from. So I believe strongly that government has a lot to do, a lot of explanations to do. Government needs to explain to the people. I really don't think it is something government should defend. I think government should actually do more of explanation. They should do more of buying of the citizens. As a player and as one who is also deep in the theater of operations, I believe strongly that the military needs more money. And if you ask me clearly, I'll tell you where this money should be spent. I believe strongly that the welfare of the military should come tops, because I know that they're operating under very difficult conditions right now. The feeding allowance for the average soldier today per day is 500 naira, which is abysmal. I don't think there's any part of the world where a soldier in the theater of operation is fed with 500 naira. And I think this is a military policy of, is it 70s or 60s? So it's still, for me, it is a no-no. What can you feed with 500 naira per day? So I think that money should also go into that welfare. That's number one for me. Then number two, critically, yes, it is important, just like some of the conversation with, I don't know the military position of the officer who was speaking to one of your colleagues earlier. He was showing us some weapons and there's need for us to buy weapons. I think it's actually an insult to us as a nation that our military is still operating with AK-47, whereas the Boko Haram guys are probably having better weapons. So I think it is expedient and very important that those weapons are also purchased. I don't know how much it costs, and I won't be able to tell you the veracity of spending $1 billion or not. But I can tell you that there is urgent need for the welfare of the soldiers, cut across, every spectrum of the military. There is need for the improvement of their welfare. Then additionally, a chunk of this money also should go into the humanitarian activities, because there's still a lot to be done.
Okay.
There's still a lot of rebuilding to be done. A lot of roads, have been destroyed. A lot of bridges have been destroyed. Some of these monies, if it's being given to military to make sure that the military also repair those bridges, I will agree. The engineering corps of the military is also excellent, and they're wonderful. They are doing a lot of job.
Okay, Osaemeka,
they're rebuilding.
I'll have to interrupt you here a bit, if you don't mind. We'll take a moment. I'll come back so that you can tidy up. Please don't go away.